The original Silent Hill for PlayStation 1 is steeped in religious imagery, and it's not just set dressing. The locations that player character Harry Mason visits and the quest items he discovers along the way are based on real and ancient traditions and legends that hold deep and unsettling secrets about the place of humanity in a world where malevolent powers are always just behind a veil that we can't see. Let's explore how real-life arcana shape Harry's and our own journey through the blasted landscape of Silent Hill. At first, Silent Hill seems to be a game about a father searching a normal, albeit abandoned town for his lost daughter. But when the infamous siren transports Harry Mason into a parallel world of darkness and blight, we know all bets are off. It's during one of these excursions to the otherworld that the spiritual essence of Harry's experience reveals itself. He descends into a basement where he discovers a sigil, a symbol representing a spirit being. This same sigil reappears in different sizes and forms and in various locations throughout the rest of the game. A constant reminder that something, some force, is lurking just beyond perception. This is far more than just an abandoned town. Later, the mysterious Dahlia Gillespie tells Harry that this particular sigil represents a demon named Samael. The game did not invent this entity. Samael does not appear in the Bible, but he is mentioned in a number of ancient extra-biblical texts. If you look up Samael online, you might find claims that he first appears in the 2nd century BC first book of Enoch, but he does not. The list of names of the fallen angels in 1 Enoch chapter 6 does not include a Samael. The earliest mention of the name Samael, which comes from Aramaic and means God's poison, is found in the mid to late 1st century AD martyrdom and ascension of Isaiah, a Jewish Christian text narrating an imagined journey of the biblical prophet Isaiah through the firmaments of heaven. There, Samael is said to have dwelt within the evil king of Judah, Manasseh, a reference to demonic possession, and caused Manasseh to abandon the worship and laws of God. The prophet encounters Samael in the first firmament, where he is told by another angel, a sort of angelic tour guide, if you will, that Samael will ultimately be defeated by Christ. As time went on, both Jewish rabbinic and Christian traditions defined Samael as a powerful demon associated with planting the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden, and subsequently tempting Adam and Eve to eat of its fruit, causing their downfall. Medieval Jewish texts named Samael as the king of demons and even the angel of death himself, bent on destroying the human race. Samael's evil is countered by the highest angel, Metatron, another important figure in Silent Hill. The sigil that Dahlia told Harry was the mark of the demon Samael is actually the seal of Metatron. Dahlia lied to Harry about this because the completion of Metatron's seal would actually defeat her. However, the game's design for the seal of Metatron is not what we find as the symbol of Metatron in actual Jewish mystical tradition. The Kabbalah gives Metatron's symbol as this. Yeah, bit complex for late 1990s graphics. The game didn't invent Metatron either. He is an angelic being in some Jewish traditions. His name is Greek, meaning beyond the throne, referring to the throne of God. This heavenly being appears in various Jewish texts, identifying Metatron as the angel who led the Israelites out of Egypt in the book of Exodus, and who delivered the Torah, the divine law, to Moses on Mount Sinai. Metatron was said to bear God's own divine name and to share God's divine power and even to share God's throne. So one could say that Metatron was, in a very real way, God, while at the same time being distinct from God. In fact, the extra-biblical book of 3rd Enoch, a Jewish apocalyptic text dating to the 5th to 6th century AD, refers to Metatron as the Lesser Lord, calling Metatron by God's own name. Now, it's easy to see how this could threaten Jewish monotheism, and so the legends and texts concerning Metatron were pretty universally condemned by later rabbinic tradition. So basically, the big bad guy of Silent Hill, the demon that Harry and we, the player, are facing, is none other than the king of demons. And Harry's just an ordinary dad. Led by the sound of church bells, Harry finds Silent Hill's house of worship, Balkan Church. Church bells are pretty, but there's much more to them than just a nice sound. Before clocks and watches became ubiquitous, they served the function of marking time, but particularly for the purpose of marking the hours of prayer. The juxtaposition of this sacred sound with the anxiety-inducing siren that plunges Harry into the dark, alternate otherworld is a constant reminder of the unseen battle raging between the light and the darkness, striving to claim Harry's mind. When Harry finds this church, it's a comforting place, it's normal, it's well lit. A church is a familiar sight after the disorienting and terrifying otherworld, so his guard is down here. It's no coincidence that Harry first encounters the mysterious Dahlia Gillespie in this church. She's wearing a headpiece that looks like it might be a mantilla, but it's not clear, again perhaps due to the graphic limitations of the game. A mantilla is headwear native to Spain, and until the implementation of the Second Vatican Council in the 1970s, mantillas were worn by Catholic women whenever they were in a Catholic church. So Dahlia's physical appearance and her location in a church make her look like a buttoned-up traditional Christian lady. She's likely playing that role on purpose in order to gain Harry's trust, so that she can then manipulate him into doing her bidding. Dahlia tells Harry that his arrival had been foretold by gyromancy. This is a very familiar video game trope, particularly in horror games. The protagonist player character is fulfilling some prophecy. Gyromancy is the occult practice of spinning an arrow or an actual person spinning around and around inside a circle whose outline is marked with a combination of numbers, letters, or symbols, and wherever the spinner stops, or in the case of a person, when the person gets too dizzy to continue and tumbles over onto one of the letters or symbols, that letter or symbol is taken as an oracle. It's kind of funny to imagine old Dahlia spinning around and around in circles until she just gets too dizzy and falls over. Unless she had poor Alessa do it. But it's weird that Dahlia's coming across as a traditional Christian lady, and she's also talking about gyromancy at the same time. This should be a big clue for Harry because Christians are forbidden from doing gyromancy. As an occult practice of divination, it is considered to be idolatry, and so it's off limits for Christians. So the fact that Dahlia is coming across as all Christian, but she's talking about doing this thing that is not allowed Christians to do, should have been a red flag for him. Dahlia gives Harry a pyramid-shaped device she calls a Flauros. The pyramid is significant because of its multiples of the divine number 3. The word Flauros is taken from real legends too, but it's not the name of a device. It's the name of another demon found in the Lesser Key of Solomon. The demon Flauros holds authority over other demons and has the power to command them. So it makes sense that the device that helps Harry to control other demons is named after this demon called Flauros. Later in the game, Dahlia tells Harry to find another church. He does find this other church, but it's more like a small chapel. This little chapel is clearly not Christian. In a conversation with Nurse Lisa, Harry learns that before the town was turned into a resort, its original residents had been secretive folk who practiced the occult. Shades of H.P. Lovecraft here. Presumably, this older church that Harry finds is the town's original place of worship, and the above-ground Balkan church was built during the resort era. So there's a sense that the original gods/demons revered by the town's first inhabitants were quite literally buried under the development of the resort town and the accompanying building of the Balkan church. And now, those beings are making a comeback, either due to the town's destruction or those demons actually caused the town's destruction. Whichever the case, it's clear that Dahlia Gillespie is a member of that original cult that lived in the town. Again, it's all very Lovecraftian. Towards the game's climax, Harry must unlock the final door leading to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where his final confrontation with Dahlia and the demon will take place. The final chance to save his daughter. To unlock this door, he must use 6 special items, each holding a special meaning and power. The Amulet of Solomon, who ruled ancient Israel in the 10th century BC. What you won't read in the Bible, though, are legends tracing back to 1st century AD Jewish and Christian mystic and magical texts, claiming that King Solomon had the power to summon, control, and banish demons with the aid of a magic ring marked with a 6-sided star given to Solomon from God himself by the hand of the archangel Michael, the same angel who had expelled Satan from heaven. In some legends, Solomon used this ring to summon powerful demons and commanded them to build the great temple in Jerusalem, the Dagger of Melchior. Melchior is the legendary name of one of the Magi, better known as the 3 Kings, who visited the child Jesus after his birth in Bethlehem in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 2. We see the 3 Kings in nativity scenes and hear the song named after them every Christmas season, even though the Gospel of Matthew does not call them kings, and it doesn't say there were 3 of them, it only says there were more than 1. The Gospel calls them Magi and says they came from the East. East, in this context, would be Arabia and Persia, and perhaps even farther. Magi were the intellectual elites of their day, steeped in knowledge, both natural and occultic. But as far as I can find, there's no Dagger of Melchior anywhere in Christian legend or in the occultic texts. It seems to be something that the game invented. The Ankh is an ancient Egyptian symbol associated with the life force. The disc of the Ouroboros. The image of a serpent swallowing its own tail also goes back to ancient Egypt and represents the constantly repeating and renewing cycle of life, which includes the concept of reincarnation. The Ouroboros was also a symbol associated with alchemy, and one of the weapons that Harry uses in the game is an alchemical liquid made from an Arabian plant called aglaophotis. The 1st century AD Greek physician Dioscorides writes in De Materia Medica that the aglaophotis plant comes from the peony family, which explains its red color in Silent Hill. The game did a great job with that. Dioscorides also says that one of the properties of this plant is to ward off demons, the crest of Mercury. Mercury is the Roman name of the Greek god Hermes, the messenger of the god. Mercury is often portrayed holding the caduceus, 2 serpents wound around a short staff topped with 2 wings. Yes, more serpents. Serpents were very significant in ancient Near Eastern and Mediterranean religious traditions, particularly as symbols of wisdom and of healing. Silent Hill's crest of Mercury is a sort of half caduceus. It has the wings, but only 1 serpent instead of 2. This might be due to the graphics limitations of the game, but it might also be due to some confusion with the single serpent staff that serves as a symbol of medicine. The caduceus is actually a symbol of trade and commerce, not of medicine. The god Mercury was the patron of merchants given his speedy travel. The actual symbol of medicine is similar to Mercury's staff, but it's a single serpent wound around a pole that does not have wings at the top. That symbol comes from the Bible as well as from ancient Roman religion. It's the symbol of the Roman god of healing, Asclepius, as well as a reference to the Book of Numbers. When the Israelites, freshly liberated from slavery in Egypt, complain against God and against the prophet Moses, God punishes them with fiery serpents whose bite is lethal. Moses pleads with God to spare the Israelites, and God instructs him to create a bronze serpent and set it on a pole. Anyone bitten by a real serpent need only look at the bronze serpent, and the bite will be healed and the person will live. The single serpent wound around the pole has been often confused with the caduceus, and so Silent Hill's crest of Mercury might be intended as a healing symbol. The common theme of all of these symbolic keys that unlock the final door in Silent Hill is that they all possess powers of life, health, strength, and power to triumph over spiritual beings, all of which Harry must use to face the demon behind this door and set his daughter free. Silent Hill is a classic not only because it revolutionized gaming, but also because of its grounding in real, ancient spiritual traditions, making them present for us today and drawing us into their arcane world. So what are your thoughts on the religious imagery of Silent Hill? If you've played the game, or if you've seen it played online, did you notice anything that hasn't been mentioned here? Leave it in the comments. And if there's another game that uses religious imagery that you would like to see me cover on this channel, leave that in the comments as well. As always, thank you so much for giving my videos some time of your day. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, share it with a friend. See you next time.